The search for the secret to a woman's peak pleasure often leads down a hollow path. Many men are taught to focus on performance, on stamina, on size, or on specific physical tricks they picked up from popular media. But to truly unlock the heights of her ecstasy, the kind of pleasure that leaves her breathless, physically overwhelmed, and deeply connected, you must stop thinking of sex as a physical act and start viewing it as an architecture. Today, we are dismantling the myths. We are moving beyond the surface to explore the neurological, emotional, and physical triggers that create maximum pleasure. This is a complete deep dive guide into the slow burn mastery that separates the average experience from the unforgettable. If you want to become the best she has ever had, you must first become a student of her complexity. To understand how to bring a woman to a peak, you must first understand the fundamental biological difference in how we heat up. Think of a man's arousal as a microwave oven. It is instant. It is high heat. A digital switch flips from off to on in a matter of seconds based on visual stimuli. A woman's desire, however, functions like a slow-burning stove or a crock pot. If you attempt to rush the process, you aren't just moving too fast, you are physically out of sync with her biology. You are trying to serve a meal that isn't finished cooking. Maximum pleasure begins hours before the bedroom door even closes. It lives in what experts call the emotional preheat. In the female brain, the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for fear and anxiety, must be deactivated for her to reach a full explosive climax. When she is stressed about the house, the kids, or work, her brakes are on. You cannot power through a woman's brakes. You must help her release them. When you alleviate that stress by handling a chore without being asked, by offering a sincere non-sexual compliment, or by simply making her feel truly seen, you are lowering her cortisol levels. You are literally unlocking her capacity for physical sensation. Think of your day as a series of touch points. A text message sent at noon that focuses on her beauty or your appreciation for her rather than a demand for sex builds a mental bridge. By the time the sun goes down, her stove is already simmering. You aren't starting from zero. You are starting from a place of deep psychological readiness. Imagine the difference between a man who walks in the door and expects intimacy, and a man who walks in, sees the stress on her face, and says, "Let me take care of the dishes. Why don't you go take a warm bath?" That bath is not just a bath. It is the first step of foreplay. It is the moment she begins to soften. A softened woman is a woman capable of maximum pleasure. When her nervous system shifts from fight or flight to rest and digest, the blood flow begins to move away from her brain and down into her pelvic region. This is the biological foundation of the peak. Without this, you are fighting against her own chemistry. Once you are finally together in a private space, the greatest mistake is to rush to the finish line. The breasts and genitals are the main events. But if you go there immediately, the sensation can be jarring, even desensitizing. It's like turning a bright light on in a dark room. Instead, master the art of the graze. Use your fingertips to trace the map of her body, focusing on the secondary erogenous zones. These are the areas where the skin is thinnest and the nerve endings are closest to the surface. Spend an eternity on the back of the neck. This is where the vagus nerve passes through. A direct line to the relaxation centers of the brain. Use light fluttering breaths. Move to the inner wrists and the soft skin behind the ears. Move your attention to her inner thighs. The skin here is highly sensitive but often overlooked. Do not touch her center yet. Stroke the skin with the back of your hand. Use the or rule of 3. Touch her once, twice, and on the third time, pull away. This creates a psychological that only you can scratch. Your goal is to make her the one who pulls you closer. When she begins to move her hips toward your hand, when her breathing hitches and her pupils dilate, you know, the blood flow is exactly where it needs to be. This heightens the sensitivity of every nerve ending. It's making the actual contact 1,000 times more potent than it would have been if you had rushed. To bring her to a maximum peak, you must understand the dual engine system of her pleasure. Most men focus on penetration, but penetration alone is rarely enough. Only about 30% of women can reach a peak through intercourse without external help. The clitoris is the primary physical organ for female orgasm. It is an iceberg. What you see on the outside, the glands, is only the tip. It is roughly the size of a pea, but it contains more than 8,000 nerve endings. To put that in perspective, that is double the amount of nerve endings in the human penis packed into a much smaller space. But the clitoris is not just a button. Beneath the surface, it has internal legs and bulbs that wrap around the vaginal opening and extend deep into the pelvic floor. This is why, when she is highly aroused, the entire area feels full. Simultaneously, the G-spot located on the anterior wall, the belly button side about 1/3 of the way inside, is actually part of the internal clitoral structure. Maximum pleasure is reached when these two systems are stimulated in harmony. When the internal pressure of the G-spot meets the external friction of the clitoris, it creates a summation of nerve signals to the brain. This is the bridge to the kind of orgasm that involves the entire body, leading to the screaming ecstasy we discussed at the start. Now we move from the mental to the mechanical. One of the most common frustrations in the bedroom is the mismatch of sensation during intercourse. Often a man is feeling everything while the woman is feeling very little. This is not a lack of chemistry, it is a lack of alignment. The traditional missionary position is built for male climax. The thrusting motion creates high friction for the penis, but often leaves the clitoris untouched and the G-spot ignored. To fix this, we utilize the chordal alignment technique, or CAT, first. The alignment, instead of being in positioned lower down, move your body upward and forward. Your shoulders should be level with hers, or even slightly higher. When you enter her, do not slide all the way in and out. Instead, stay deep. Your goal is to have the base of your penis, the area where it meets your body, pressing firmly and consistently against her clitoral hood. You are looking for a grounding contact, not a pounding contact. Second, the rocking motion. Stop the thrusting. Close the gap between your pelvis and hers so there is no space left. Now, begin to rock your pelvis in an upward and downward motion. As you rock forward, the base of your body applies pressure to her clitoris. As you rock back, the angle of your penis applies pressure to the G-spot on the belly button side of her internal wall. This creates a seesaw of pleasure. You are stimulating both engines of her ecstasy. Simultaneously, listen to her breath. If she starts to shallow, breathe, or arch her back, you have found the rhythm. Do not speed up yet. The mistake most men make is thinking that more speed equals more pleasure. For a woman, consistency is the key to the peak. If you change the rhythm just as she is climbing the mountain, her nervous system has to reset. Stay steady, stay rhythmic, stay in the rock. If you want to be the best she's ever had, you must remove the goal-oriented stress of sex. In many relationships, sex becomes a race to see if she can get there before he does. This creates a spectator effect where the woman is watching herself, wondering if she will finish, which ironically prevents her from finishing. The icing on the cake strategy is the solution. The rule is simple. She goes first. Always during the full play stage, use your hands, your lips, or a high-quality vibrator to bring her to at least one full climax before penetration even begins. Why? Because an orgasm is a physiological reset. When she peaks during foreplay, her body is flooded with oxytocin, the bonding hormone, and nitric oxide, which increases blood flow to the pelvic tissues. After that first orgasm, her tissues become engorged and hypersensitive. The vaginal canal expands. She is now physically and chemically prepared for the most intense pleasure possible. Now, when you enter her and begin the cat rocking, she isn't trying to have an orgasm. She's already in a state of ecstasy. Anything that happens next is delicious icing on the cake. This takes the pressure off both of you. You can focus on the connection, the skin-on-skin contact, and the intimacy, knowing that the work is already done. Paradoxically, this relaxation is often what leads to a second, even more powerful screaming climax during intercourse. Maximum pleasure is a feedback loop. You cannot be a master lover in silence. The brain is the largest sex organ, and it requires data to stay engaged. Encourage her to use her voice, and you must use yours. Tell her what her body is doing to you. Tell her how she feels. This isn't just naughty talk, it is reinforcement. When you tell a woman how much she is pleasuring you, it lowers her inhibitions. It makes her feel powerful. A woman who feels powerful in the bedroom is a woman who can let go of her go and surrender to the physical sensations of a peak. Ask for feedback, but do it correctly. Don't ask, "Does this feel good?" That's a yeah or no question that requires her to use her logical brain. Instead, say, "Tell me if you want more pressure or more speed, or show me how you want it." Guide her hands. Let her show you the exact circle, the exact rhythm, the exact pressure. Every woman is a different instrument. You may be a master pianist, but if she is a violin, you must learn to play the strings, not the keys. By becoming a student of a specific feedback, you ensure that every session moves closer to that maximum threshold. THER of excess. Part 3. To reach the summit of maximum pleasure, we must redefine when sex actually begins. If you think it begins when the clothes come off, you have already lost half the battle. For a woman, the path to a screaming climax is paved with the bricks of connection laid hours or even days in advance. Mastery is not what you do with your hands, it is what you do with your presence. In a long-term relationship, it is easy to let the small things slide, but the small things are the very cables that transmit the electricity of desire. Think of her desire as a reservoir. Every act of kindness, every moment of true listening, and every bit of help around the house adds a drop to that reservoir. Every moment of neglect or dismissiveness creates a leak. On a day when you know you want to be intimate starts in the morning, not with a sexual demand, but with a cherishing action. If she is the one who usually makes the coffee, you make it. If she is the one who usually worries about the schedule, take a task off her plate throughout the day. Use the power of the non-sexual touch, a hand on the small of her back as you walk past, a kiss on the top of her head while she's working, a long 10-second hug where you just breathe together without expecting anything more. This communicates to her nervous system that you are a safe harbor. It tells her that you love her body, not just what her body can do for you. When a woman feels safe and cherished, her sexual brakes release, the tension in her shoulders drops, her breathing deepens, and her mind begins to drift towards you. By the time you enter the bedroom, the work of arousal is 80% complete. Maximum pleasure is a multi-sensory experience. To bring her to her peak, you must curate the environment to soothe and then excite her senses. Let us talk about scent. The olfactory bulb has a direct pathway to the limbic system, the part of the brain that processes emotion and sexual desire. A room that smells of laundry and life is fine, but a room that smells of sandalwood, jasmine, or vanilla can be a powerful aphrodisiac. More importantly, your scent is her strongest trigger. Cleanliness is the baseline, but the subtle pheromones of your natural skin are what she craves. Next, consider sound. Silence can be heavy. It can make a woman feel self-conscious, as if every breath is being monitored. Low-frequency music, something with a steady tribal or ambient beat, can help her lose herself in the rhythm. It provides a curtain of sound that allows her to be vocal, to moan, and to breathe heavily without inhibition. And then there is your voice. The sound of a deep masculine voice vibrating near her ear is a physical stimulant. Don't just speak, whisper. Describe the way her skin feels. Describe the way her scent is affecting you. When you vocalize your own pleasure, it acts as a permission slip for her to feel hers. It creates a feedback loop of ecstasy that builds and builds until it has nowhere to go but up. The most critical moment of the entire sexual encounter often happens after the climax. This is the afterglow. For a man, the post-climax state is often one of refractory sleepiness. Your hormones like prolactin signal your body to shut down and rest. But for a woman, the moments following a peak are when she feels most vulnerable and most open. If you roll over, check your phone, or immediately go to the shower, you are effectively dropping her from the heights you just reached. It can create a crash that leaves her feeling used or disconnected. This negative emotional ending can actually make it harder for her to reach a peak the next time because her brain remembers the drop. Stay, hold her, keep your skin against hers. The 10 minutes following the peak are when the most oxytocin is flowing. This is the bonding window. Use this time to stroke her hair, to tell her how incredible she is, and to just be present. This afterglow mastery seals the experience in her mind as something transcendent. It ensures that the next time you initiate, her body and mind will remember the safety and the love of the finish, making the climb back to the mountain even faster. We have traveled from the psychological roots of desire to the mechanical mastery of the cat technique, and finally to the emotional sanctuary of the afterglow. Maximum pleasure is not a trophy to be won. It is a garden to be tended. It requires the patience of a student and the heart of a protector. When you commit to her pleasure, you aren't just giving her a physical sensation. You are giving her a gift of self-discovery. You are showing her what her body is capable of, and in doing so, you are creating a bond that is unbreakable. If this 3-part masterclass has changed the way you view intimacy, I invite you to subscribe and join us. We believe that every person deserves a thriving, ecstatic sex life built on knowledge and respect. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Which of these 3 stages, the emotional, pre-heat, the mechanical rocking, or the afterglow, do you feel is the most missing in your current connection? Leave a comment below. Let's start a conversation that elevates us all. Go slow, be present, and always put her,